Start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
All right, trustee Oppenheimer.
Here.
Trustee Pace.
Here.
Trustee Shaw.
Here.
Trustee Spears. Here.
Next item is to appoint me, Scott Oppenheimer, as a temporary chair for this meeting.
Motion. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Real quick, the reason why I'm the temporary chair is supervisor had a last minute medical emergency. So we are praying for a speedy recovery. Any approval for any requests for attendance by remote means received from township board members? No. Perfect. All right, we'll start the township board meeting. Approved minutes of the February 9th, 2026 regular township board meeting.
Motion.
Second. Any questions, comments, or changes?
We had one change. I had missed that Assessor Nally was present, so I will be updating the minutes to reflect that.
Anything else? Okay. We have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Trustee Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Shack.
Yes.
Trustee Spears. Yes. Okay, motion passes.
Motion to recess township board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Motion to approve sewer bills.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion?
Trustee Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Shack.
Yes.
Trustee Spears. Yes. Okay, motion passes.
Any old business?
Old business. If you guys remember correctly, that we went and smoke tested last fall. With that, the final footage of that was about 1,200 feet too short. So we're gonna go out again and smoke test the 1,200 feet that we need from Duke's, so we can make sure that we have our so we had the requirements for the MWRD that we need for our annual program. So, other than that, good question.
Nothing from me. Anybody else? New business?
Nope.
Great. All right. We will reconvene at the township board meeting.
The board is still present. We do not have anybody on Google Meet.
Motion to approve town fund bills.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? Trustee Oppenheimer has a question. So my question on the town fund bills, I'll address to Administrator Curcio. When going through them, I did notice still some spend with Google from I think a Google for Business, or and I know that we talked about it a couple meetings ago. I don't remember the date that we were converting to Office or Microsoft 365. Can I just get the status on?
Sure. We were ready to change over, but it was going to be right when Sam would have to do the end of month and get the payables ready for the board meeting. So we thought it best not to make the transition until he was done with that. So it's going to be either Thursday or Friday this week. But we'll go over to M365.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Okay. Trustee Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Shack.
Yes.
Trustee Spears. Yes. Okay, motion passes.
Next would be approved road and bridge fund bills.
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion there? Again, trustee Oppenheimer. Commissioner, a couple questions on the bills there. The first that I have, and there's four of them. One is the attorney bill. We noticed that it was a little over $9,000. I know trustee Spears in January requested maybe some more line item detail, but I think we just saw a summary of that.
I'm going to hold it in advance until my counsel arrives. He's and he spoke to your counsel earlier today about this topic.
Okay. Anything my counsel wants, our counsel wants to say?
He said he would,
Okay.
explain, answer any questions.
Okay. Next question, we saw on 6/13, I'm going to round about $2,400 charge for a 55-inch 4K curved gaming monitor that was purchased. Any explanation there?
More than what I provided you.
Yeah,
I haven't heard the explanation, so if you could just explain.
I was giving you a heads up of the questions.
But I replied,
Yes, yes.
and you didn't provide the detail. That's my question.
Yeah, no, so,
It's for construction drawings, to be able to get in and zoom in and detail construction drawings. Very difficult to do on an iPad or even on a standard size monitor. This enables us to bring contractors in to discuss different aspects of roadways, the Central Road project in Northbrook West, specifically that's a $3 million project, the $50 million project that we are going to be engaging with MWRD starting next month. It enables us to get better detail in working with our contractors and subcontractors to make sure that we're getting the best detailing possible. I recognize that the monitor has the unfortunate misnomer of gaming. It's not used for gaming, it is used for drawings.
two more questions. And yes, I did provide them in advance. Goal here is to provide as questions in advance. There's no surprises during the meeting. The next one on 7/14, just saw a $55 Kindle Scribe cover. We didn't see a Kindle Scribe ordered, so didn't know what the cover was.
It wasn't enough money for me to look into right at that moment, but if you need a detail, I'll get it for you. There is a Kindle Scribe that is that's owned by the road district, but I'll have to find out where it is.
You know what, I do have a question, not really a question, but just a comment. And it's mostly relevant to the gaming monitor. So it would be great if, and I don't know what sort of research you did to see if any of that kind of equipment was available. But for instance, I've started volunteering at the Winnetka Trick Shop, whose proceeds go to the counseling center, the North Shore, one of our nonprofits. And we in fact had 3 gaming monitors that went for like 50 or 100 bucks last week. And in fact, the Spears family had a couple of gaming monitors as well. But it's just that sort of thing. Like, I mean, general rule of thumb, I think, and hopefully we're all in agreement. Anything over $1,000, you know, you might get lucky just betting it, you know, in the township, rather than spend, you know, wholesale. Right?
Wait, take it.
The last question I had, and then we'll go back to attorney. Certapro painters, that was in here, $25,000. I wanted to know if the IGA with the school district was approved, and
The school district approved the IGA at their second board meeting in January. I think January, but in early February, but in one of those meetings, I did attend one of the 2 meetings, the first reading meetings. There were no questions by the trustees. I'm sorry, by the school board members. I was there for, I was online for the second meeting. Again, there were no questions. It was passed unanimously. It's from being on the consent agenda. I understand from my counsel that there's a question about the $5,000 cost share, which is in clause 3 of the agreement. It states that the parties agree that the total cost of the striping work is $25,000. of which the school district will be responsible for $5,000 and road district shall be responsible for the remaining within 30 days of the execution of this agreement. The school district should reimburse, so on and so forth. And with the clerk's signature today, this is now in force in effect, and copies will be provided to the clerk as well as to council, all council.
And then, the first question,
Before we go into that, on the IGA, why did they fund so little? They budgeted 12 and they only funded 5.
I'm not gonna ask why the school district in the governance. I did try to get up and talk with them, but they were not interested in terms of having, they felt comfortable with what they were agreeing to, and I had to take them at their word.
So they didn't really give us a chance to give the road district a chance to negotiate.
I think I was pretty upfront with them in terms of how I was, the partnership I was seeking with a shared tax base, and this is just how it should happen. Primarily with me and the superintendent, not necessarily the board directly.
We have a copy of the IGA.
You'll have one now that it's fine.
I just want to ask, so we're not,
It would go through a public forum, but
if I could ask, so we're approving the fact that we're going to pay the bill.
just a minute.
Let me ask the question to the council. We're approving that we want to pay the bill to serve growth. That's what we're discussing right now. We can only pay the bill as long as we have an IGA that is in place. Can you certify that we have an IGA in place that's valid?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
last question we have, we were asking, about the $9,000 bill from the road district's law firm, back in the January meeting. Trustee Spears was reviewing, and requested, that we receive more line item detail. The invoice we reviewed was a summary invoice looked like, and I believe Commissioner Corman was going to open it up.
Well, it actually wasn't even a summary. I mean, basically the bill that I reviewed last month, it just had the names of people who did work, really didn't even know what they did. So it wasn't really a summary of services. It's just that these folks billed stuff to the road district.
I think so that it is a summary statement. It has the amount of time, the rate, the total amount. It doesn't include the descriptions. So the descriptions, those detailed descriptions are privileged, right? It's between the commissioner and our office. And so I think our thought was to give you the summary, to not include the descriptions, to save cost. Like the other way to do it would be, to go through and redact the legal bills, the detailed invoices that the commissioner receives, like we would for a FOIA request, for example. But that's just, going to be more billing from our office to do that. So
I should note, I do review the entire bill with the detail. So it's not as if I'm only getting a summary. I see the detail. I love it.
That really doesn't provide the sort of comfort I gave. Again, my reference is sort of the detail that, the attorney provides, and certainly that I was called on to provide when I was a practicing attorney. So,
we do provide that detail to the commission.
again, doesn't satisfy my level of comfort. I'm glad that the commissioner said that.
I do have a follow-up question. So my follow-up question is who is the client? Is it the commissioner or the road district?
So the road district is technically the client, right? But is the executive of the road district, right? And really the corporate authority, so to speak, right? And we represent the highway commissioner as well.
Next question, please. So we're approving bills based on services provided to the road district, right? How can we be sure that the services you're providing are for the road district?
Well, I think, based on the bill and a representation to the commissioner, right, that they are, and a representation for me, right, that they all are in furtherance of work on behalf of the road district and, dealing with things that for years have not necessarily been addressed. And then we talked about that there would be, a decreasing number on that, which I think has been the case. There was a new issue that came up, which is why they kind of spiked it. But the idea is, right, I mean, how do you know any bill? It's from any, right, I mean, it's an invoice, right, it's from our office, and it says for services rendered to the road district. The commissioners here telling you that these were funded, these services. I mean, you get a bill from a, you know, technology provider, right? I mean, the same sort of issues, so.
So I would say it is the same sort of issue. When we get a bill for television, we can go see that there is a television and it's being used for contracts, not being used for cable. When we see a bill from a lawyer for $10,000, which is an increase over the last bill, the bills have started from that company yet. It sounds like you're saying we should just take your word for it, that it's relevant.
No, I think, so the work product, right, the contracts and the things that we draft are all public record, right, and those are all things that exist. And that aren't privileged, right, that you would have access to one of those things.
I have not been asked to sign any contracts. Are there contracts that require me to attest to them?
No, not yet. I think these are projects that have gone out for bid.
Okay.
Right, so draft is probably soon.
If something went out to bid, don't I need to be at the bid? Okay.
The only one that we have is the Central Road project up in Northfield West so far. I would state, I think this is an important point. I've just learned in the last 10 days that the current consulting engineer that has been doing work for the road district for 40 years has never had a contract. And I don't know about you, but the liability to the township and the road district of an engineer doing construction advising for us without a contract, of which you guys were on the board too for 4 years, that was dangerous. And those are the kinds of things that I continue to uncover because those questions weren't asked prior to my taking over.
So that's an explanation for the type of work product that we would see that.
If you would like to see the work,
Paid for it.
the final work product, I'm happy to provide that, but I won't provide strategy. As you all know from the September meeting, it was very tense and I'm still dealing with ramifications.
So I prefer trust but confirm to blindly trust. Why don't you just waive privilege and everything that's not in that bucket and we can see the whole list?
I tried to do that in December and all I got was 10 questions about why I was doing what I was doing, and I'm not prepared
That's
to do that.
appropriate. That's
I
what we're
know,
supposed
but
to
I'm
do.
not gonna, I don't do that to you guys. I'm not gonna do that for
It's not
12
your
months.
role to do it to us.
I know,
It is your role.
but I have a
So I'm
choice
going to-
here and I'm taking my attorney's advice.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest again, you waive the ones that are easy, the stuff working on the big projects, obviously that's fine. And then you can block out whatever it is you're working
I'll review it with our attorney.
So just a point of clarification, sounds like a nit, but it actually isn't. In addition to being a lawyer, I was a partner at Accenture, and we made the analogy, a level of detail of tech consulting, the level of detail that I was responsible for generating every single month, like down to the quarter hour of what my team members did. There's no analogous situation between what we got from you or saw and what we had to do.
So I wasn't
So
talking about tech consulting. So when it's positive noises, like the commissioner said.
I understand your argument that it's privilege, attorney-client privilege. I get it. We disagree. I just wanted to clarify.
Understand.
So if we submit a FOIA, you'll submit it with black lines.
Right, I mean, it's a privileged document, right? I mean, there's privilege for a reason, right? So the idea behind privilege is you want to have open and honest communication with.
I'm a lawyer. you don't need
Yeah,
to-
right, well,
Yeah.
so that's fair. So you understand why the commissioner may not want to do that, he's got a conflict, an ongoing conflict with this board.
There's no conflict about
It's
hiring,
not a
hiring,
capital
hold on.
Not
There's
a
no
capital
conflict
city.
about hiring you to do work on, say, the big project at the end of your.
I don't know that that's necessarily true.
Okay, but there's things on there that certainly have no issue, and we can certainly easily see, if privilege is waived, and you kind of back off of this and give us the detail that we're seeking.
So I don't necessarily agree with that.
I think one of the things that I just wanted to chime in is that, yes, you mentioned the commissioner has, I think you said adversarial relationship with the board. I'm focusing on the road district, not the commissioner, right? And I think that's, I don't want to speak for the rest of the board, but that's how we're evaluating this, not on the commissioner level, on the road district level, and the optics of transparency. And that I think just listening to all this, that is what is super important. I think not just for the board, but also for the taxpayers, not commissioner versus trustees, or more Commissioner versus Northfield Township. It's road district and Northfield Township, not just commissioner. So I do think that what I'm hearing is, it sounds, I mean, my perception is that, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, is that this is representing the commissioner, not the road district.
I'll let Russ chime in, but I don't think that's correct. I mean, we represent the road district. The commissioner is the corporate authority for the road district. So, you know, I mean, organizations are made up of individuals, and there's a whole body of case law about
So
Obviously, it's complicated because of the nature of township road districts.
Ross, can we speak up?
Yeah, obviously, it's complicated because of the nature of township road districts and ex officio officers, and the reason for a road district separate attorney is because of the nature. There's a conflict, but then you have the treasurer and the clerk who are township officers. But so I agree that there's a level of privilege that there has to be, because there's conflict. And to whatever extent necessary, there can be an agreement to see detailed bills and billing, whether in camera or otherwise, with certain redactions or things withheld, if needed, maybe that can be worked out. But there has to be a certain level of privilege, because if he waives privilege generally, then he waives it to the public, right? And so you don't want any if it gets as detailed as to, you know, a certain bid strategy or anything like that, you don't want someone to be able to go and get the bill. You can't assert privilege anymore. You can't redact certain things, and then someone uses that for litigation or other strategy. Because that's what we fight against, anyways. So there's,
I would think as a springboard, I mean, that's exactly what you did before. When you gave us the bills, there were lines that you just took out because they were sensitive, and that's fine. That gives us a greater level of transparency to review. If we're blocking out everything and splattering privilege everywhere, you know, it looks like it's just trying to avoid scrutiny. And I prefer the method that Ross is suggesting, you know, cover what needs to be privileged, what you did before, which is exactly what he said, cover just the lines that need privilege. Going back to that, the public gets much greater transparency. You still get your privilege for where you need.
Because I would prefer that approach too, because we bill for redacting the bill. I think the idea was, it was a trade-off, right? And we would give, and like I said, the work product's available. So I mean, if you want to say, hey, you know, what was the line item of things that were completed last month, that the commissioner would say, here's that, right? If you want to come into the road district office and review the contract, come on down. Right, so I think that was the idea. So it's in my interest too, to redact the bills.
I mean, we both know that not every hour billed results in a work product. There's consultations, there's talking, there's meetings. So when we see the lines of the bills, we can evaluate that. And you did it in previous months. So I'm asking you to go back to that and do it again, just as Attorney Shepherd said.
Well, let me just jump in. I did in December. I did not consult my attorney in December, which I should have.
But there were lines blocked out.
I did, yes, but I did it.
Okay.
I did the redaction myself, thinking that there were reasonable things that should be shared with the trustees. And it turned into as you all know, from the December meeting, a conversation about why this is a billable hour, why that was a bill, why we were doing this, and why we're doing that. And it was like 10 questions here in this forum. And I don't think any one of us wants to do that. I would suggest that if the attorneys can get together and come up with a plan that will support both sets of interests, I'll be in support of that.
Asking those questions is our oversight role.
Yeah.
That's what we do. So saying you don't want us to do that, so you're going to hide it.
It's not necessarily
It's not the answer I want.
Right, to questioning why he's using the lawyer isn't, and quite honestly, I think there's a tension between, you know, he got a lawyer, right, because of this IHA, right, he ran into trouble. So part of it is you want him to go to the lawyer so that he's complying with the law, because that's what you all want to do, right? So I think there's an inherent tension in kind of this nitpicking, right? And that's not your role. Your role is to look at was it a service that was provided, not what was communicated, not the specific communications between my client, right, and me. That's not your role. Respectful.
I just like to point out, I think the same things are being said over and over again. I take the minutes for these meetings and I can observe it. And there's a sense of oppositionality in this room that I think is unnecessary. I think everybody actually understands, and I don't think we need to keep repeating as if people don't understand. I think there's an understanding. I would like to see you all move forward in a way that you agree to something. Because I think there's a bit of an oppositional nature to this that doesn't actually need to exist. I think people understand what needs to be redacted. I think there's actually like a pretty high level of understanding. So I would just recommend that. Because none of the rest of this is very helpful to taxpayers, residents, to the public.
Good point. Thank you.
I would propose that a more detailed bill with redactions, and that we will be discriminating in the types of questions that we ask that are pertinent to our oversight role. Is that fair?
That's how I agreed to the attorneys to come up with a framework.
That's the framework, what I just proposed. To be the framework. Is that, can we agree on that? I'm looking at you guys. Can you agree on that?
No. I think they need, I'm not going to agree to anything.
Can you agree on that?
Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately, it's gonna be up to the commissioner what level of detail.
Can you two agree on that together?
Sure, we can talk, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna agree with it necessarily. You understand what the concern is, so I think that's what the commissioner is saying is, council and I can talk, about something where, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, thank you. And for the interest of time, I think we're all aligned on what the ask is from the board, what the next steps are, and we can certainly reconvene. I think also to Clerk's point, we're saying the same thing, so fair. I think what I'd like to do is move this to a vote to approve the road and bridge fund bills.
Trustee Ottenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Chef.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Next item of business, approval of highway commissioner's request for payment to Certified Painters of the North Shore for $25,000 for line striping at Glenbrook South High School. A motion.
That's been approved as of.
So,
It was perfect.
so we're good? All right, moving on. Number 10.
Do we need a motion to?
No, I think it was on there, there wasn't an IGA
Got
in
it.
place, and if there was separate discussion, that was gonna be removed. The table and voted on separately.
Do you mind just recapping that for the minutes of why we didn't just vote on this? Can you just make it clear so I can make clear why we didn't need to do it as a separate?
Absolutely. So the board voted to approve during the road and bridge fund bills, $25,000 to be paid to Surrey Pro Painters of the North Shore for $25,000 for line striping at Glenbrook South High School. Therefore, we do not need this line item.
Commissioner Corman, sorry if I missed this, but did you say you sent us the IGA?
It was signed today by the clerk, and it's been signed by the president of the school board and myself, and a copy will be provided to attorneys as indicated in the document.
Okay. Could I ask that that be disseminated?
Yes, I do want to just kind of note, I didn't get a chance to see it at all. I understand I need to sign it anyway. The only reason, I shouldn't say this, I was not even aware that it existed until I emailed you today. So I was aware because it was in the newspaper. I would just recommend
If
to
there's a
both of you.
process, I'm happy to follow the process. but
Well,
we-
there's a line where I sign.
No. I mean, if I was required to submit it to you in advance of the board meeting, and there's a process around that, I'm happy
There's
to
no
follow.
process. I just think both of you, as people who understand this process, understand if you're asking me to sign something, that you give them time to sign it.
But I think, it's very ministerial, not.
Yeah, I think you're just
It was
attesting.
given to me at 5:59.
Right, and if he says that's my signature, you're just attesting that it's his.
I understand. You don't need to explain that to me.
Sure. Okay.
It was given to me at 5:59 as our meeting was starting.
I didn't ask you to sign it right there, I just handed
It
it.
needed to be signed before this meeting.
Oh.
I'm not being oppositional. This is a process situation of it needed to be signed for us to move forward on the payable. I'm just asking if you need me to sign things to please give me time to sign them. I think that's for both of you. I mean, if there was awareness that an IGA existed and I had no idea about it, I'm not asking to have input in it, just thank you.
Approval, all right, so next on the agenda is approve the agenda for the annual town meeting to be held on April 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m. And direct the township clerk to post and publish notice of the annual town meeting as required by law.
Question?
Second.
Any discussion?
Trustee Oppenheimer,
Yes.
trustee Pace,
Yes.
trustee Shack.
Yeah.
Trustee Spears.
Yes. Okay, motion passes.
Next on the agenda is approval of Highway Commissioner's request to issue a letter to Wintrust Financial authorizing the credit card limit for new credit cards.
Motion.
Second.
What?
Motion.
Yeah, so we'll discuss first, right? And then-
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. For the record, relatively new at this, but trying my best. Not right here. It's fine. So, we had a discussion, just ahead of time. I understand that, the highway commissioner is, requesting, a credit card. Had an opportunity, to review, and it looks like on average, the credit card bills were, around, I think between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. So the motion would be to issue a letter for, I think, a $10,000 limit, and that could be approved now and then perhaps revisited at another time.
This is a request to increase the credit limit to 10.
No, this is
We don't have
a request to approve a credit card for the highway commissioner.
But let me clarify, it's not a credit card as much as a procurement card. We use it for procuring.
Right.
And
We're offering the credit limit for new credit cards, and
Mr. Chair, to be clear, the ask isn't to approve the credit limit, right? The commissioner is solely responsible for credit, right, his credit, so the board has no authority over his credit limit. What has been requested from the bank, right, given that the ministerial functions that the supervisor performs is the treasurer, right, and approving the warrants, the clerk and signing the warrants, and this board in auditing, right, they've requested a letter essentially recognizing that function that the board serves. Just again, one of those things due to the nature of the statutes and how the entities are organized together. So I just, to be clear in terms of language, it's not to approve the credit limit, right? I mean, the commissioner can, whatever, credit limit they'll give him, and he's got a lot of money.
right. Yeah, no, and I appreciate clarification. Thank you. I mean, I'm just reading what it says on here, which says a letter to Wintrust Financial authorizing credit limit for new credit cards. So I guess, not to put you on the spot, Attorney Sessler.
That's what we were,
That's what it is, probably good.
that's what we were
Vocabulary.
asked and explained to, that the board was being requested to approve a credit. So that's why it's on the, it's just to, if it's to explain to the bank that the bills need to be approved by the board.
Can I ask a question? Is there a letter that we got from the bank requesting this? Is there some kind of document?
So, no, just emails, right? And so they
That's a
said,
document.
and it was a non-specific document, right? We had a conference with the representative from the bank, and, he kind of waxed and waned on specifically what he was looking for. And that's why we don't have a letter to kind of present to you here today. We figured, you could leave it up to attorney review and approval, and could work with Ross and get them what they need. But I think that, they understand. I think they represent other road districts. And they understand that it's, the commissioner pays the money, but I think their worry would be, his underwriting department, is my understanding, right, is worried that, well, they're gonna get stuck on, some bill or something like that, or that there's gonna be non-timely payments on a regular basis or something along those lines. So that would be the concern. And, in terms of language, I think you probably have to give it to underwriting and then give it back to us. And, hopefully it wouldn't be too much of a back and forth.
So I have to rely on our attorney.
Yeah, because, well, the commissioner in the road district doesn't actually pay the month, right? That's the whole point. So that, I think that's the concern of the board in a certain respect, that things can be purchased in advance, and then there's, if there's not a valid reason to pay for that. Not that that would happen in the future, but if that arises, then there's zero recourse, that the purchase has already been made, and either you default on the credit card or you don't. Obviously there's a valid basis to have credit card as a governmental unit. You certain things just need to be on credit card, certain recurring expenses, et cetera. But I think that's part of the concern is what, if the township needs to affirm something to a bank, what is it going to be? Because it's not going to say that if you, that we agree with allowing someone who doesn't have statutory authority to make purchases on his own or her own, to just be able to do that, you know?
Sure, and I give a bird to the commissioner on exactly what his plan is. I think the plan behind getting a credit card and one is turning over this, the existing arrangement with the credit cards. And two is, I think, to increase transparency right now, you would submit all those bills each month so that the board would be able to review them in detail and kind of clean up the process, but I'll let you speak to it.
As we've discussed here half a dozen times since I came into role 9 or 10 months ago, what ultimately I'm trying to do is to move all of our charges earlier in the month so that we can get the detail to Sam and the supervisor and you all earlier than we do now. In fact, even I think yesterday we had something come in that had to be paid timely. It kind of causes all this rework and extra work for the clerk and additional agendas that have to go out. And I've had this goal since I came in, is to move our entire billing process to earlier in each month, preferably the 2 Fridays before the trustee meeting, so that we don't have this kerfuffle on the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday before this meeting. And the goal also, frankly, is to take the pile of bills that we currently have that the supervisor has to sign checks for, things like ComEd. We have 5 or 6 ComEd bills that come in. They're all $200. In our view, it would be easier to put those onto a credit card as a recurring payment, and we can set the date that it comes out. We don't have to then chase the bills that come in on different days. It's just dealt with in a more streamlined fashion.
I think we're getting into the same cycle of things being repeated that everybody understands. I think this is already known, so I think we need to go back to is what is the agenda item that needs to be voted on?
Thank you.
What are we approving?
And there was a motion in a second.
Right, but
Yes,
it's
but
not.
I actually have no idea what we're approving right now,
No,
to be
not
fair,
everything.
right?
Yeah,
So I don't know if I'm approving, if we're motioning to approve a credit card, if we're motioning to approve a P card or a purchasing card. I don't know if we're motioning for a credit limit or if we're motioning for a change in the billing date.
So we have the cards.
Okay,
We received them from the bank.
so we have cards.
What we are
Okay.
waiting for right now, in its simplest form,
Yeah.
is some documentation from the township to go to Jeff Galecki at Wintrust that will protect underwriting at the bank. It says these bills will be paid, and I don't know what that framework looks like. I assume the township had to do a very similar thing using the same bank. So whatever that process is, I would think would be the same process. That's what I'm seeking, and I've been working on this for 9 months, right, with Wintrust.
Well, just one question. Is this the tail end of getting rid of the low cards?
Yes.
Those are gone now, and this
Not yet.
replaces that. Not yet, so it's like an overlap. I got you.
We definitely are looking and understand, as part of this, that we want to do it. It's just understanding what we are approving.
Right. So it sounds like can I take a stab at, I'm going to take a stab at redefining the motion, if I'm legally allowed to do that, which is, and please, everybody correct me. What?
Maybe, do you want to ask Attorney Zeckler?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm,
Attorney Zeckler? Great advice.
sorry, because it doesn't need to be changed from how it's worded now.
Well, it sounds like it.
Well, yeah, the motion can't just be exactly what's on the agenda.
Right.
That was, we didn't understand what was being requested, so that's why the agenda is to request credit, to approve a credit limit.
Right.
That's clearly.
Basically, giving Wintrust whatever documentation they need.
Right. So my proposal is approval of Highway Commissioner's request to issue a letter to Wintrust Financial stating that bills will be paid in a timely manner. Is that wordsmith?
Are you saying we can't change what's on the agenda?
No,
And that's what we already
we
put on there?
can, there's a vagueness to this that I don't know if Scott can just come up with a agenda item like this. I don't know, and that's why I'm asking Attorney Zeller.
I think the agenda item is about issuing a letter to Wintrust Financial.
Correct.
We proved issuing a letter to Wintrust Financial, I think is okay.
We'll make sure the letters is whatever it needs to be, right? Is that what you're saying?
Within,
Yeah.
well, I'm legal reason.
Right, so I would say that,
Yeah.
So I think they did request a specific number authorization, right? At least to be in the letter.
Oh, they did.
They did. And the second thing, I think it would be clear that anything in the letter, that it would be only for lawful purposes, right? In accordance with the policy. So we're not asking, right, to go give them whatever they need, just to be clear.
But they are asking for
What
a
would be
amount.
helpful is, was this an oral request made from the Wintrust guy?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't even have anything in writing like that.
No, it was in writing, right, but the specifics, right? So what he's looking for is a specific dollar amount.
That would be helpful.
She's looking for a specific credit.
Right, and the specific dollar amount request is not in writing.
So we can go back to your original motion, which was for a $10,000 credit limit.
yes.
Okay. We could have saved all this time. The suit.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's fine if you want to, I mean, I think, yeah.
Super, okay. We get a vote.
Can you please just, do you mind just reading it for the record?
Yeah, so approval of Highway Commissioner's request to issue a letter to Wintrust Financial authorizing the credit limit of $10,000 for new credit cards
And otherwise satisfy underwriting requirements.
and otherwise satisfying underwriting requirements.
You got a motion again, right?
Yep.
Motion, second.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
Okay, are you ready? Okay, trustee Ottenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Shack.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Okay, motion.
Moving on, motion to approve ordinance 3-1-2026 to transfer funds between appropriated line items within the town fund, which represents 1.45% of the total amount appropriated in the town fund.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Trustee Ottenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
You said good choice.
I think we just left the building.
Sounds like motion passed.
You got three.
Aye.
I did not include you in that.
All right, motion passed, okay. Next on the agenda, approve ordinance 3-2-2026 to transfer funds between appropriated line items within the general assistance fund, which represents 3.72% of the total amount appropriated in the general assistance fund.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Trustee Ottenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next, approval ordinance 3-3-2026 to transfer funds between appropriated line items within the sewer fund, which represents 2.27% of the total amount appropriated in the sewer fund.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Okay, trustee Ottenheimer.
Yes.
Trustee Pace.
Yes.
Trustee Spears.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Approved resolution 3-4-2026, a resolution updating the Northfield Township policy governance reimbursement of employee and official travel, meal, and lodging expenses.
Motion.
Second.
So Gail was,
Discussion.
what's the major change?
It's changing the hotel from 149 to 200.
Okay.
It's supervisor was scheduling going down for lobby day and was having difficulty finding a good hotel for $140 a night. So,
Okay.
looking at it, it just changed up to 200.
Thank you.
I think it's just general increasing costs of
Yeah, doing business.
Trustee Oppenheimer?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Spears?
Yes.
And motion passes.
Matters to be presented by the public.
We have a public,
I got a question
as the public.
as a public. I didn't hear a resolution about the road district line items change.
No, because it was not submitted for the agenda. We are going to be meeting again later this month, and I will add it to that agenda, but it was not submitted to me for the agenda.
Here's a question.
Line item changes for the road district. But
Like ours, okay. Oh, okay.
so, just for sure, for us, I mean, does that affect us in any way?
No, it'll still be done this month. It has to be done before the new fiscal year. It was a miscommunication. Nobody reached out to me to tell me to put it on the agenda, so I didn't know to put it on the agenda. And we can't add the agenda item within 48 hours. But I told Commissioner Corman today, I reached out about that. The board is meeting again later this month for the special police district line item changes, and we can add that, and it's still this month.
Okay, that's, want to make sure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Good, you're good.
Anything else? Okay. Old business. None. New business. Report, any new business reports from the supervisor. We'll go with trustees. Any reports from trustees? Great.
Just one thing, and we all know this, but we are moving ahead with the food pantry strategic plan, and we will have our workshop this Thursday, where consultant Hogan will present her findings, make some recommendations, and so I just wanted to make sure that we make it.
Thank you. And the RFP for audit services has been issued by accounting clerk Sam Chandler.
Any figures yet?
Now, administrator.
Oh, thank you. And I will, a couple of things to answer trustee Pace's question. We did have one firm come back with their questions, but that's it. So I believe March 20th is our due date to get answers back to them. So we'll work. Just a few things I want to touch on. Last month, I mentioned that case manager Hilda Morales had met with the executive team in July and talked about our services and learned about their services. And as it turned out, she met with a resident who was looking for help for paying for swimming lessons for her children. And so Hilda helped her fill out the application for scholarship. And Hilda found out they got a family membership that gives them access to services as well as childcare. And the resident was thrilled. So it's just a really good example of the partnerships that we're really branching out and creating and how it's helping our residents. Along those lines, caseworker Lisbeth Melgosa had reached out to Housing Opportunity Development Corporation when they were first announced Picard Place in Northfield being built, about how we could partner and maybe we could go there to talk to their residents about our services. And it was a little too early for them, but now that they're reaching, I think they're almost done, and they have 500 applications for the 48 units they have. They've reached out to Elizabeth, and she and Hilda are meeting with one of their representatives on Friday to talk about how we can partner. But one of the things they asked was maybe they could use some space here to meet with applicants. So I told them they could offer their computer and close off that wall and they can have that space. So it's a really good opportunity, I think, for us then to go there and maybe do live applications and sign up for services. So that's cool. Couple other things I just wanted to share with the board. Joanne, who checks in at the front counter of the food pantry, just wanted to let everyone know she's gotten a lot of feedback from clients. They're grateful for the extra gift cards this month. Our sewer billing, this probably could have been under new business in the sewer meeting, so I apologize. So as you know, we transferred over to MuniLink for Muni billing. The mailing went out with the bills went out. There are a couple of glitches and communication wasn't all that great. So we've had some good feedback from our people on the sewer system. One of the things was that by the time they worked through, Sam and Julie Moon worked with MuniLink, the due date did get changed. So it was March 1st and a lot of people got the bills like that last week of February. That being said, we're getting a lot of payments in. Some of the feedback is we've we passed the fees on for credit cards and e-checks onto the users as opposed to absorbing them like we had in the past. So there's been some feedback from that, mainly about there's a 50-cent charge for checks, and people are a little upset about that one, at least from the people that I've talked to. So just wanted to bring that up to everyone's attention. But so far, like the process, the software is working really well, and they're happy with it. So that's happening. And this just one last thing I'll touch on, and unfortunately, it kind of ties in with something Commissioner Corman was talking about with regards to his credit card and getting bills in earlier. So with the trustees auditing the financials and the payables, I met with Wally, Dorothy, and Sam to talk about like how things are currently going and how we can streamline it so that the trustees know the bills and the financials will be available on this day for review. So from that discussion, a few things that Dean recommended, one of which we've talked about before, which is pushing the board meeting back to the third Tuesday of the month, but I know that's probably not possible. Another thing was adding an additional meeting to capture any bills that come in after that deadline. And then, but what we have committed to is that we can have the payables and the financials ready by 2 p.m. the Friday before the board meeting, with the understanding that as things stand right now, based on credit cards and stuff, the road district may have some additions on Monday, but that's kind of where we're at. The other thing that came out, again, I would like Commissioner Corman to see, because I know this has been talked about, is that the road district adopt a purchasing policy, and also both the township and the road district adopt a credit card policy, talking about authorizations, what can be purchased, and then documentation and when that needs to be submitted by for credit card charges. So just wanted to share those things.
Yeah, let me ask, Ross, is it possible to move it to the third Tuesday?
I told you guys can do whatever you want.
He's just
Just-
not
it won't
going to
matter.
talk about this.
Okay.
If it's not, don't make it.
Just want to make
You
sure
guys
I'm legally
can do whatever
covered.
you want.
Just wanted to share.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Assessor Nally?
Life is busy in the assessor world right now. As you know, so board review results came out on February 18th. From what I'm seeing, the board review has been very generous
Yes.
in their reductions.
Are you happy?
And that's a very kind of just not tabulated, so just come on here. So we're gonna, I'll be able to report for that once we know all the results coming out. And people that didn't, right now, we get a lot of inquiries about doing PTAB, which is big up the fields. But overall, I think people are pleased and want that. Also, yesterday, we opened up for the 2025 exemption applications. So we're fielding a lot of questions. So me and my team are very busy, and all is well in the assessment.
Thank you. Communication and Community Outreach Manager.
Hello, everyone.
Does?
Just wanted to give an update on the human service funding process that you all voted on last month. Administrative Assistant Julie Mooley is working on getting those agency agreements out, the partner agreements to each agency who's receiving funding, so that we can get those checks bound by the end of March. So that's on track, and so far the responses of people are happy that they're receiving some funding. We're continuing to line up more outreach events for spring and summer. We had a few early ones in February that went really well, I think. And so you'll get notified of those as they come up, giving you enough notice if you'd like to participate or volunteer. We help staffing them. Just want to mention briefly again, I think we talked about this at the prior meeting, but we're fortunate to have Access to Care, who's one of the most agencies we partner with. They have committed to coming and just doing tablet space for about 2 hours every month, the last Wednesday of every month in the food pantry. So they're kind of catching clients as they're checking out and seeing if they can talk about services or stuff like that. So that's another goal for us, is to start figuring out what other agencies can we have a very similar pattern with. But we love that they're set up on a monthly schedule, which is great. I'll do this one first. So we're very excited. The first Township e-newsletter is about to come out, hopefully later this week. So we're really excited. The first one is going to be a general overview of Township services, things like that, letting the residents know about the board meetings. And then we'll sort of tailor them specific to each month. So April's will probably talk about the annual town meeting and the history behind that and how that goes. But we're very happy. This has long been in the works to actually just have a general township newsletter that we're gonna send out once a month to anybody on the mailing list and continue to build that and grow. And then the last thing I just wanted to share is we were able to print up some outreach materials for the food pantry. We'll let you guys take a look at it if that's okay. We've got a flyer, a home card, and then a business card. And the hope is that our community partners, such as police officers, counselors, social workers, whoever we want to distribute these to, we printed up, I think, 2,500 and then 500 flyers, something like that. So we have quite a bit of them. And we'd love for Peter Bush and hopefully to take them too. Awesome.
The business cards will probably work the best.
No, we got plenty, so thank you.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Motion to adjourn before 7 p.m. All in favor?
Any opposed? Okay.
We get yelled at for that.
6:56.